Fani Willis, she doesn't stand much of a chance to get her wish of holding a trial against Donald Trump before the November election, as he basically won a legal victory in the Georgia election fraud case against him when Judge McAfee granted him the right to appeal his ruling, allowing District Attorney Fani Willis to be able to stay on the case. So this is huge, guys. This is big, okay? And this actually means that the trial against Donald Trump and the 14 other remaining co-defendants, including Harrison Floyd, who was interviewed on Professor Nez's channel today. It was a great interview. I don't know if you guys caught that, but I actually really like Harrison Floyd's personality, and I was really impressed by his composure and his background. Hopefully, you guys got a chance to check that out. If you haven't, definitely take a look over at Professor Nez's channel on that one. But anyway, this means that the trial against Trump and 14 remaining co-defendants has effectively come to a screeching halt. And Donald Trump may very well be elected the president of the United States before the court even gets to pick up again. So, but by then, Donald Trump would definitely have an easier time getting the case thrown out and maybe even getting DA Fani Willis thrown out right alongside it. And this is just for starters. In fact, in another win, he's got a whole string of legal cases against him. Trump and co-defendants in his New York civil fraud case have posted a bond of $175 million. Now, this is another big win that we saw earlier this week. In fact, the posting brings to an end a 6-week ordeal in which Donald Trump scrambled to fend off possible seizures of real estate, property, or assets that were stemming from the $464 million judgment from Judge Arthur Engoron in New York. And this is the one that New York State Attorney General Letitia James has brought up against the former president. Well, now they have the bond for an appeal to be able to push through in July. So the bond was provided by a California-based company called Knight Specialty Insurance Company under billionaire Don Hankey. And according to Hankey, he never met Donald Trump before. He's never talked to him on the phone. He just heard that Donald Trump needed a loan or a bond, and this is what they do. So they went ahead and reached out, and he responded. The deal, Hankey said, it pretty much just kind of came together in just a few days. And interestingly enough, this is not the first time that Hankey has worked with Donald Trump. In fact, Hankey, a billionaire who resides or presides over a basically an auto services empire, he may never have even met Trump. In fact, he's actually the largest individual owner of the Axos Financial. Basically, it's the lender that ended up bailing out Trump by refinancing his mortgage, or probably I should say mortgages, at Trump Tower and his Miami resort back in 2022. Axos also previously had done business with the family of Jared Kushner, which is Donald Trump's son-in-law. So yeah, they may have been moving around, pretty much the same orbit. And that said something about Hankey's belief in the former president. And let me tell you guys, Hankey actually seems to have like a good head on his shoulders, as he also previously donated to California Democrats, Ted Lieu and Bob Hertzberg. So for him, it's all about business. And it looks like for him, Donald Trump means good, trustworthy business. And that's all he cared about. So Trump pretty much just keeps on winning. Donald Trump pretty much just keeps on winning all of these legal cases against him, cases that he calls a political witch hunt and election interference. So hit me up in the comments, guys. What are you guys thinking? Is this election interference to you? Let's see here. Who do we have in the live here? If you haven't already, definitely hit the like button for the video. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me on this late one. We got Nana's Crochet Corner. What's going on? Nana in the house. Danny Wilson. Awesome, man. Thank you so much from Australia. Thank you for watching all the time. We got Freedom Rain, Angela White. What is going on? Lynette Williams. So Here's the thing, guys. At least he's Donald Trump has his Georgia election case being reviewed by the Supreme Court. So this is actually very, very good, right? And at least this is how it looks with regard to the Supreme Court handling Donald Trump. Um, this let's just call it a pass before they even hear the case. So basically, I'm going to call this a win. Why? And the reason why is because the justices have agreed to decide whether Donald Trump will ultimately enjoy the total immunity from prosecution. And perhaps more importantly than that is the timing of this decision likely means that a trial over Donald Trump's role in the whole January 6th situation won't begin, much less end before the election. So, kind of like the experts are saying, Donald Trump, he kind of did succeed in one of the most important tasks of all. And this is basically to be able to not have a trial before the election. So, what do you guys think about this? Is Donald Trump going to win all the way to November? Hit me up in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think about that. Now, for starters, of course, there's the $175 million bond that Donald Trump had secured recently in New York City regarding his civil fraud case against him. But his supporters, they're already saying that when, not if he wins this appeal, he should go ahead and countersue these people for the interest on his money. Do you guys think that Donald Trump should go ahead and countersue New York City, Letitia James, Judge Arthur Engeron for interest on his money, or at least try to get some of that interest back? I mean, they're hitting him for like what, $112,000 a day? Why not, right? But let me know what you guys think. Um, Man, a lot of you guys are pouring in here. We've already got 312 people in the live already. So anyway, but let's first talk about how Donald Trump basically already won against Fani Willis in Georgia, okay? And I'm talking about the appeal that Judge McAfee just approved. So basically, McAfee granted the former president's motion seeking an immediate review of Georgia's Court of Appeals on this bombshell ruling, allowing the Fulton County DA to continue prosecuting the case, despite her affair with lead prosecutor Nathan Wade, right? You see, Donald Trump and seven other co-defendants, they want to take Willis off this case, but they didn't have an automatic right to appeal before the start of the trial. However, Judge Scott McAfee granted this very rare measure considering how important and how historic this case is. But what this appeal also does, and not a lot of people are actually talking about this, Trump's legal team, they know that they know this probably as well. What it does is it delays a trial from even being scheduled, meaning that it's highly unlikely that it would ever even take place before the election in November. So this is a huge underhanded pitch that Scott McAfee actually handed over. So Donald Trump's lawyer, Steve Sadow, he called McAfee's decision highly significant, and he went ahead and added that he's very hopeful that the appeal will win. But with the appeal pending like this, I would have to say that he's basically already won, as the trial against Donald Trump and 14 other co-defendants has effectively screeched to a halt. I mean, you got Steve Johnson, right? Steve Johnson, he's a Georgia-based defense attorney and former prosecutor. He confirms this, basically saying that Judge Scott McAfee's decision allowing the appeal pre-trial, it's rare, and that until this matter is actually decided officially, well, basically the case will effectively be at a standstill. So Johnson basically explains how, practically speaking, the trial will not proceed until the Georgia Court of Appeals makes a ruling on Judge Scott McAfee's order to allow the district attorney, Fani Willis, to remain as a prosecutor on the case. Now, maybe they boot her. We have to wait and see, though. Now, in this motion asking for appeal, Steve Sadow and the attorneys basically criticized Fani Willis's January speech at the Atlanta Big Bethel AME Church, where she claimed that the backlash against her, Nathan Wade, was racially motivated because they were both black. They went ahead and said that this would mean that the defendants would not be able to get a fair trial. Now, of course, you guys know how Fani Willis is. You know, it's all about her. Um, it's all about her. She has to make it a race thing, yada 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 yada. So, yeah, this is pretty much where we're at right now. And in fact, this is actually pretty similar to the motion that they filed back in January after Fani Willis made her comments at the church, where she, basically, which the defense ultimately falsely and intentionally injected race into the case. So she got called out for that already before. In fact, recently she was like, she got up in front of a rather large crowd at this women's event, and she was like, "Hey, they told me not to talk about race. Well, guess what? I'm gonna talk about it anyway, right?" So things are definitely heating up for you guys. I mean, like Donald Trump, he's racing past all these different legal obstacles to get to that November election finish line. I mean, it's just crazy what they're trying to do here. By the way, if you guys haven't already, do hit the like button. It's totally free. I totally appreciate you guys. Who do we have here in the live? We got Catalia in here. We got Emilio Cruz, Bradley Green, Mickey Ficky. Finally, my first live with Ron Yates. Yes, you made it in here. Finally. I wonder, I don't know if notifications are going out to everyone. I don't know what's going on with that. We got Brian Wellborn. Man, got so many people in here tonight. So I really appreciate the support. But like I said, even before the trial, the appeals court, they could decide to take Fani Willis off the case. And of course, if this happens, well, analysts are predicting that the case against former President Donald Trump, it will just be dead in the water. And if Willis is tossed from the case, well, her entire office would likely be tossed as well. A state prosecutor's counsel would then be tasked with trying to decide which new DA or district attorney, if any, would be willing to take over the case. And it's unclear if a new prosecutor would have an appetite to try to bring, this sprawling and complex racketeering case against the former president and his allies. I mean, this is not an easy case. And as explained by legal experts, although the case will not automatically go away, it's possible that no new prosecutor may be found. Basically, kind of making the case go away in practice. So imagine if DA Fani Willis gets booted from the case. Imagine DA Fani Willis gets disqualified. If they can't find a replacement, they're not necessarily going to get rid of the case, but if they can't find a replacement to represent the state, well, it kind of goes away unofficially, if that makes sense. Plus, of course, you got Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. They're not exactly off the hook either. So Georgia State Bar Association, they could certainly open a whole new probe of both attorneys, okay? Potentially going after, opening them up to a wide range of penalties, including possible suspensions of their law licenses, disbarment, as many of you guys have been calling for them in the comments. I mean, these guys going after Donald Trump may have effectively ruined their own careers. I mean, it's like I said, it's all unfolding, guys. So, but also Georgians could also decide to move on from Fani Willis at the ballot box because she has announced plans to run for re-election to serve another 4-year, stint as the Fulton County DA, with her current term set to end in December. So time is not on Fani Willis's side right now, to be honest with you. A lot of people are saying, I can't wait for her to leave. But already, she has 2 competitors at her heels. She's got Christian Y. Smith, a former Fulton County prosecutor, self-described progressive and author of a voting rights-themed children's book. And he announced plans to run against Fani Willis in the fall's Democratic primary. Then, of course, there's also Courtney Kramer, who's a Republican with election law expertise who worked as a consultant for Donald Trump's legal team. Now, Kramer has not minced any words, basically slamming Fani Willis all over social media, cable news networks, demanding her disqualification from this high profile Donald Trump trial and labeling Fani Willis's conduct as just straight up disgusting. So, yeah, I mean, it's not just you guys. I mean, here you have other politicians, you have other attorneys that are like, look, you are a disgrace to Fulton County, to Atlanta, to Georgia. And this is what they're saying. I mean, they don't like what's going on with Fani Willis. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. Cindy Arminta says, you should check out what's happening in Fulton County on Barry Cunningham from 3 days ago, titled Fani Willis Won't Shut Up. Huh. Okay, I'm going to have to bookmark that. I need to find out what's going on over there. And Doug Eing says, how will the new revelations in the Fulton County votes affect the Georgia case? You know, I think number one, that's a very good question. First of all, number one, we have to wait and see what the appellate division comes back with first. That's first and foremost. But theoretically, if the votes from Fulton County related to the Georgia election case come back and they're presented to a judge, I'm not sure if they're going to bring a jury in on that one. But here's the thing: if those facts can be presented in such a way, it would almost null and void the current Georgia election case. And then it would also likely, because here's the thing: Fulton County is just one county. Think about how many counties there are in Georgia. Think about how many counties there are in the United States. How many other counties had something similar happen there? Now, I really can't answer that, during this junction right now, but I'm just thinking, not only could this throw out Donald Trump's Georgia election case, but it may even call into question whether or not we have a valid president in office right now. Like, should Biden be the president right now? So this thing could really blow up way beyond what we think. So, yeah, anyway. But Fani Willis, disqualification and removal saga, it is far from over, guys. But really the win here is that no matter how the appeals court rules, it's very unlikely that a trial would unfold before November's presidential election. So, but I'll tell you what, if Donald Trump ends up winning this November election, I guarantee he's going to open up a massive probe to find out the truth and expose the truth regarding the 2020 presidential elections within all these different counties around the United States, and literally find out for sure. Because if he can prove that there was election fraud taking place, well, he would basically have the same power that Biden has right now. He could put Biden on trial for election interference, turn the tables. I mean, this thing could really go, completely sideways. Everything depends. Everything is so pivotal on the outcome of November 2024 this year. So, they say, like, this year's presidential elections are so much more important this year than the last 4 years. Well, I have to agree. 2024's presidential elections, they're going to be a game changer. So anyway, but here's another key piece of the puzzle here. The $175 million bond that Donald Trump and his co-defendants have posted in his New York civil fraud case. Well, Alina Habba, who is one of Donald Trump's attorneys, she said that Donald Trump's payments was made as promised, and that the former president looks forward to vindicating his rights on appeal and overturning this unjust verdict. Thank you so much, Rafa King, for the huge $5 super chat. So Rafa King says, If the Georgia Court of Appeals moves it from the Fulton County DA's office, no other county would touch it. It's curtains for Fani Willis. I mean, seriously, I can't see any other county wanting to get involved because, not to mention, it's so it's so publicized. I don't think most counties want that kind of publicity, to be very honest with you. And I don't think most attorneys want to be under that level of pressure. Very high profile case. And it's quite extensive, especially when you have, anywhere between 14 and 18 other co-defendants at this point. I know, I think four of them took plea deals. So I just don't see it. So, but Donald Trump's people, they're hoping that the Court of Appeals wipes this out and that AG Letitia James and Judge Arthur Engeron will be sued. The fact that Donald Trump has to come up with the money, this means that he will be able to protect his assets from Attorney General Letitia James, who basically warned that she would start seizing properties as early as late March. So that's not going to happen anymore. Now, helping Donald Trump out is billionaire Don Hankey. And it's very interesting to see Hankey's take on things, right? So for Hankey, securing a bond like this for Trump is just part of what his company does, right? And at the same time, according to Federal Elections Commission's filings, Hankey has also donated to multiple Democratic initiatives. You've got Ted Lieu, you've got Bob Hertzberg, both California Democrats. So even though Donald Trump is a Republican, he doesn't care. He's all about business. For Hankey, he's happy to support Republicans or Democrats as long as they're business friendly. And, like I said earlier, perhaps he actually sees Donald Trump as a great investment in the future. Danny Wilson, thank you so much, my man, for the huge $7.99 super chat. Thank you very much. I just want to thank everyone every single day for all of the support that you guys give. You guys are amazing. Let's see. Man, some of you guys are just really going off on this evidence, this exposure from this from that ballot live that we did yesterday, where we were going over the Zoom meeting. And I think we've heard all of these different rumors about the ballots, the voter fraud, the lack of identification verification. I mean, there's just so much corruption that took place. The fake water main break, the hidden boxes under the desks of ballots. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And I cannot wait. I tell you what, I can't wait for. I cannot wait for Harrison Floyd to expose all of the information that he's holding on to right now. I think he's waiting for a real critical juncture to release that information. I think it's going to blow this whole Georgia election case right out the water. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. I think he's strategically being guided by his legal team on when to drop that bombshell on them. But anyway, so then of course there's the Supreme Court, another win for Donald Trump. There's the Supreme Court agreeing to hear Trump's arguments for total immunity from this whole prosecution thing. You got the timing of that particular decision likely meaning a trial over Donald Trump's role in January 6th won't begin until probably after the election, more likely. And even if it did begin before the election, it's probably not going to end. So he couldn't be, he theoretically wouldn't be found guilty or innocent, or, innocent or guilty before the election. So that's a big win for him there as well. I mean, there's nothing Trump wants more than to delay this case. And if he wins in November and hasn't been tried before Inauguration Day, well, there's a very good chance he never will be. And as explained by Sarah Krishoff, who's a former federal prosecutor in New York, if Trump is elected, it's very unlikely that Jack Smith's cases would continue just because of the control that Trump would have over the Justice Department. And now experts are saying that it's pretty much all but certain that this case will not go to trial before November. So for them, Trump has pretty much already won by not having a trial before the election. So what do you guys think about this? I know there's a lot of things that are going on right now. It's kind of hard to hold on to all these different, cases that Trump is involved in, but I'm doing my best to keep you guys up to date on everything, guys. But what do you guys think about all this? You think Donald Trump's going to walk away from this Georgia election case? Do you think that they're going to overturn the 2020 elections? I know it's super late, and a lot of people have been asking me, why is this information just now coming out? Like, why are the whistleblowers just now coming forward with this information? Why wasn't this shared like 3.5 years ago? Your guess is as good as mine, though. Let's see. Brad N says, does signature verification refer to signatures on the ballots or a digital signature that the machine generates to authenticate its output? How can a machine validate physical signatures? That's a very good question, and I don't think I can answer that right now, but I will definitely look into that for you. But I do know that there's a system that they invested in Georgia, and it cost about $1 million, which never ended up working properly, which was supposed to be doing some form of signature verification. But at any rate, it never worked properly. I wonder if that was done intentionally, like if they were intending to allow multiple votes to come in per person, which is not supposed to happen, or allowing people to vote who are not supposed to vote, i.e., imagine what would stop a illegal immigrant from voting for Biden, for example, right? Especially if you have no signature verification. I mean, there would be no rules. It would be basically just lawlessness taking place. So thank you so much, Rafa King. Again, another $5 super chat. So Rafa King says, endorsements from Nikki Haley or Mitt Romney would do more harm than help. I hope that he doesn't court either of these deep state snakes. Wow. What do you guys think about that? Do you think Rafa King's right about that? That endorsements from Nikki Haley or Mitt Romney would actually probably end up hurting Donald Trump? Roy, be the man. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat, my friend. So Roy, be the man says, aren't we forgetting Fani perjured herself? Oh no, we're definitely not forgetting that. Roy, be the man goes on to say that should be enough to not only get her disbarred, but also sent to prison. I brought this up before, and I appreciate you for bringing this up again, Roy. The thing is here in Georgia, I already looked it up. If if you perjure yourself, if you're convicted of perjury, essentially there is a fine of up to $1,000, and there's some degree of prison time. There's imprisonment as one of the punishments in association with perjury in the state of Georgia. So it's like, how are they just like bypassing all of this, right? And the judges actually called it out in his own language. So I don't really know what he's doing on that regard. If we're following things by the book and we're trying to be fair here, you would think that he would take this up. Maybe he'll take it up later. Is there a governing body that is above Judge McAfee that's going to review this and say, hey, Fani Willis perjured herself. We need to take action. I really don't know how that's going to play out, but I will definitely keep you guys posted on everything as things unfold. Like I said, these updates are going to continue to come out faster and faster. I'm going to do my best to stay on top of them and keep you guys abreast of everything that's going on. If you haven't already, do hit the like button, consider subscribing. Thank you so much for sharing these videos, and I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Y'all have a good night.